not every game goes your way. Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. The Sicilian Defense controls the d4 square with c-pawn. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center to prepare for a d4 pawn push. d6 opens up the light-squared bishop and prevents white from pushing the pawn to e5. d4 offers to trade the d-pawn for the c-pawn, giving up a center. c takes d4 gives black 2 central pawns versus 1 central pawn for white. Knight takes d4 recaptures the pawn and activates the knight in return for having 1 central pawn. Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. Knight c3 defends the e4 pawn and starts to develop on the queen side. a6 prepares the queenside pawn advance b7 b5 and also prevents white from playing the bishop or knight to b5. Bishop g5 puts immediate threatens the knight on f6. White may castle queenside after developing the queen. e6 controls the important d5 and f5 squares and allows the dark squared bishop to develop to e7. f4 gains space in the center, controls the e5 square and prepares to develop the queen to f3 behind the f-pawn. Bishop e7 develops the bishop, unpins the knight on f6 and prepares castling. Queen f3 develops the queen, supports the e4 and f4 pawns and prepares queenside castling. Queen c7 develops the queen and controls the half-open c-file. Queenside castling gets the king out of the center, activates the rook and seeks to start an attack on the king side. Knight bd7 develops the knight toward the center, defends the knight on f6 and controls the e5 square. g4 takes space on the king side and allows white to fianchetto the light-squared bishop to g2. b5 takes space on the queen side and prepares to fianchetto the light-squared bishop to b7, where it will sit on the long diagonal. Bishop takes f6 captures the knight on f6. White opens up the g5 square in order to play the g5 pawn push. Knight takes f6 recaptures the knight and attacks the e4 and g4 pawns. g5 gains space on the king side and attacks the knight on f6. Knight d7 retreats the attacked knight to the center where it controls many important squares. f5 attacks the e6 pawn and takes space on the king side. You missed an opportunity to castle on the opposite side of the opponent. You permitted the opponent to counterattack an opposing queen. They avoided retreating by countering with a threat to your queen. You allowed the opponent to win material through a fork. They missed a chance to win material through a fork. You won material by capturing a knight. This is the only good move. They've improved the positioning of their piece. You escaped the check from the queen. They are threatening to checkmate the king. You're going to end up losing a queen. Your opponent's move wins your queen. This blocks the check from the queen. They kick your queen with a pawn, forcing it to move or be captured. You got rid of the pawn they captured your vulnerable queen. A clear recapture. They played the strongest move available. A logical capture. They are threatening to force eventual checkmate. You take back. They recaptured a piece from an earlier This move cuts off the check from the queen. Your opponent is targeting your pinned bishop. You allowed the opponent to win material by checking the king away from its defense. You have to move your king away and lose material. You dodge the check. This move still keeps their checkmate plan on track. This is a fine move. This move still keeps their checkmate plan on track. You dodge the check. This move still keeps their... You step your king away from the checking rook. Checkmate and the game is over.